to news around the world on Akojopo 88.7 FM Ibadan, the most listened to radio station. I am Brawler Yusuf. The headlines: Falana criticizes federal government over planned electricity tariff increase. Ibadan pharmacist advises Nigerians to take on extra work amid economic pressure. Bonham vows to be relentless in curbing small boat crossings. Iran says no talks underway with United States after Trump calls off attacks. NISDG applauds Team Nigeria performance at Glasgow, Scotland. And now the details. A human rights lawyer, Barrister Femi Falana, SAN, has criticized the federal government's plan to increase electricity tariffs, saying Nigerians should not suffer because of the long-standing problems in the country's power sector. Speaking to journalists in Ilawe Ekiti State, Barrister Falana also criticized the government's position on the electricity sector after the privatization of electricity distribution companies, saying the government cannot ignore the challenges facing consumers simply because the private companies now manage electricity distribution. According to the human rights lawyer, many owners of the distribution companies have close relationships with the government officials, and this should not stop the government from holding them accountable for poor performance. Barrister Falana further stressed that the government should focus on improving electricity generation, transmission, and distribution instead of placing more financial pressure on Nigerians through higher electricity tariffs. The Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Okonjo Iweala, has said Nigeria's poor maintenance culture is diminishing the value of the country's infrastructure and slowing its economic development. Dr. Okonjo Iweala stated this today while delivering the keynote address at the 2026 Delta State Economic and Investment Summit in Asaba, where she said budgetary allocations alone will not translate into development without effective execution and proper maintenance of infrastructure. The organization DG also stressed that governments should focus not only on initiating new projects, but also on preserving existing infrastructure to maximize economic returns, and further called for improvement in critical infrastructure, including port and digital facilities, to reduce the cost of doing business and boost Nigeria's competitiveness. The Nigeria Union of Pensioners, NUP, Oyo State Council, has accused the management of the Lautech Teaching Hospital, Ogbomoso, and Emmanuel Alayande University of Education, Oyo, of disobeying Governor Seyi Makinde's directive on the implementation of pension increases for retirees. The union, which threatened to commence protest from August 18 if the directive is not implemented, also said it to seek the intervention of the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC to compel the affected institutions to comply. Agidigbo FM News correspondent Oluwapemi Bamidele was at a press conference held at the pensioners' office, Ibadan. Here is a report.
Union leaders drawn from various sectors of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Oyo State Council, gathered for a press conference at the union headquarters, Ibadan. At the press conference, members of the union called the attention of the Oyo State government to the non-compliance of payment of increment in pension by some state institutions. Addressing journalists at the union's headquarters in Agbarigbo, Ibadan, the secretary of the NUP Oyo State Council, Comrade Olusegun Abatan, described the institution as a gross conduct of insubordination to constituted authority. Comrade Abatan said Governor Seyi Makinde had in January 2025 approved a minimum monthly pension of 25,000 naira and also directed the implementation of outstanding pension increments. The directive includes the 33% pension increase approved in 2010, the 2019 consequential adjustment, and the 20% pension increase effective January 2024, and the balance of the 32,000 naira pension adjustment for eligible pensioners. Comrade Abatan alleged that 12 institutions such as Oyo State College of Education, Lalate, Adeshin Ogundeyin Polytechnic Iroa, Oyo State College of Agriculture and Technology, Bora, and Mike Adeneye Koliosho Polytechnic, Shaki, had implemented the directive. Lautech Teaching Hospital, Bumosho, and Emmanuel Ayande University of Education had continued to ignore it despite repeated appeals. The NUP secretary, however, announced that Michael Adeneye Koliosho had commenced the implementation of the pension increase from July 2026, describing the move as a welcome development.
And the University of Education implemented the minimum wage for their workers, leaving out their pensioners. This is in gross violation of section 210 sub 3 and 173 sub 3 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which states that pensions should also be increased any time wages and salaries of workers are increased.
Comrade Abato further accused the management of the two institutions of implementing the new minimum wage for serving workers while excluding pensioners. Also speaking, the Senior Assistant General Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Comrade Wahid Olojede, who represented the national leadership, declared the full support of the national headquarters for the planned action. Comrade Olojede commended both the federal and Oyo State government for initiative aimed at improving pensioners' welfare.
If you have your people among those management members who are denying us our rights, please warn them. We may go to the extent of a naked protest. Protest naked one. When we ask our Baba to go naked, so that they know that the resources we are sitting on today were our own handwork.
For men and women who devoted decades of their lives to public service, the union says retirement should not become a period of neglect and uncertainty. The pensioner unions appeal to those entrusted with implementing government policies to remember that behind every unpaid pension increment is an elderly retiree struggling to afford food, medication, and other basic necessities. The pensioner says their only demand is that the promises already made be faithfully kept. Oluwapemi Bamidele, Agidigbo FM News.
A well-known pharmacist and business owner based in Ibadan, Mrs. Shakira Marasan Bello, has advised Nigerians to start side businesses in addition to their regular jobs to help ease the effect of the current economic hardship and better provide for their households. In an interview with Agidigbo FM News today, Mrs. Bello said that the side businesses have strong prospects for expansion and long-term profit. However, pointing out that limited funds and the increasing price of goods and services can sometimes lower the morale of people running small ventures.
So, there's this experience I always have. People tell me that I have heaps of long epistles on my business page. People give us review that they travel far and wide, they've gone to this and that, they are Lagos numbers, but they've never had a Lagos that is like. So this kind of reviews, and the fact this people keeps begging me that please make sure that you don't change the policy, make sure you keep to what you are doing, you really love it. So when people tell me things like this, even me, I've not traveled far and wide, I don't know what it is to taste a lot outside the country, but people tell me a lot that what I sell, what they see, what they taste, they really do love it, and I should please not change it. So it gives me some kind of hope that I'm doing something right.
In spite of these obstacles, the pharmacist urged the intending entrepreneurs to stay dedicated to their businesses. She also emphasized the value of continuous learning, noting that combining good academic qualifications with a properly managed side hustle can give any business a stronger advantage in the market. Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kulamza Studio at Agidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Olushola Damilola, and the Boham has pledged that his government will be relentless in curbing the number of people arriving in the United Kingdom on small boats. The Prime Minister said progress had been made and the government was changing the whole approach with enforcement officers tackling people smuggling gangs on both channels. His comments came shortly after the Home Office announced that the number of National Crime Agency officers tackling smuggling gangs has increased to 800 from 376 at the start of 2025. Political discussion around United Kingdom policies on illegal migration have resurfaced since tens of thousands of migrants swam into the Spanish region on Thursday. The number of migrants who have arrived in the United Kingdom on small boats since Bohan became Prime Minister fortnight ago surpassed 2,000 after 326 people crossed the English Channel on Saturday. Ukrainian drone strike has killed at least 9 people in Russia yesterday. The company known as the country's Amazon has been targeted several times by Ukrainian drones over the last few weeks. The Russia e-commerce giant earlier today announced that Ukraine attacked one of its warehouses in the Vladimir region, which caused a fire to break out and staff had been evacuated. According to the report, firefighters were working at the scene while logistic operations had been rerouted to other facilities to ensure deliveries and shipments continue as usual. And that ends the news from Pulamza Studio at Gidigbo FM. United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola.
Welcome back. We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio, Agidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya. Iran said on Monday it was not engaged in talks with the United States and had no meetings planned, contradicting U.S. President Donald Trump, who said discussions were scheduled for that afternoon and cited them as the reasons for calling off planned attacks. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Bagher dismissed Trump's claim, saying there were no negotiations with the United States and no meetings had been arranged. He said Iran had no plans to receive foreign delegations or send negotiations abroad in the coming days. Bagher also said all Iranian negotiators were currently in the country except Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, who was on a religious pilgrimage in Iraq. According to Bagher, the only ongoing discussions involved Oman and focused on managing the Strait of Hormuz. South Africa's Democratic Alliance, the second largest party in the governing coalition, went to court on Monday to challenge the country's land expropriation law, which the United States President Donald Trump cited when he cut off aid to South Africa last year. The legal challenge has heightened tensions within the governing coalition, particularly with the African National Congress, as the country prepares for municipal elections in November. The Expropriation Act allows the government to acquire land in the public interest and in certain circumstances without compensating the owner as part of efforts to address the legacy of apartheid. The legislation was the subject of years of often heated debate before President Cyril Ramaphosa signed it into law in January 2025. The Democratic Alliance, a pro-business party led primarily by white South Africans, argued the law grants the government broad and ill-defined powers and warns it could discourage investments. And that ends the news from Kuliam's Studio, Agidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya.
And now in the exciting world of sports. The Director General of the National Institute for Sports, NIS, Comrade Philip Shaibu, has applauded Team Nigeria for its outstanding performance at the Glasgow Games, describing the athletes' achievement as a source of national pride and a testament to the country's growing sporting potential. Comrade Shaibu said Team Nigeria's impressive outing, which saw the country finish 7th overall and emerge as Africa's highest-ranked team, was a result of careful planning, early implementation, early preparation, improved the welfare packages, and effective support systems put in place for the athletes, noting that the performance demonstrated what Nigerian athletes could achieve when given the right environment to excel. The NIS Director General also commended the National Sports Commission for its role in coordinating the country's participation, saying the success recorded in Glasgow reflected a collective commitment to raising the standard of Nigerian sports. Reflecting on the significance of the achievement, Comrade Shaibu stressed that emerging as Africa's best, while placing 7th globally, should serve as a wake-up call for greater investment in sports, and further urged the government at all levels, the private sector, and sport enthusiasts to channel more resources into grassroots talent development, modern training facilities, and sustainable athletes and welfare programs. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. Falana criticizes federal government over planned electricity tariff increase. Ibadan pharmacist advises Nigerians to take on extra work amid economic pressure. Bonham vows to be relentless in curbing small boat crossings. Iran says no talks on the way with United States after Trump calls off attacks. NISDG applauds Team Nigeria performance at Glasgow, Scotland. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. Move out of your comfort zone. You can only grow if you are willing to feel awkward and uncomfortable when you try something new. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on Agidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan, the most listened to radio station. I am Wuraola Yusuf. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission, OISEC, has called for continuous collaboration.
We bring you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
Southwest Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM, the people's voice. Agidigbo.